This week we're going to be making my modular stackable drying station slats. These things are incredibly simple to make, and the really nice part is they can stack in any configuration that you need for the specific type of woodworking project that you're looking to dry. And more importantly, this is the most vanilla version of what this project can be. But for right now, let's go ahead and focus on making 14 of these slats, which we can stack together and make 7 total levels for our stackable modular drying station. So I took this 1/2-inch plywood outside and I went ahead and cut it down to size. Now, when you're getting Baltic birch plywood, it's actually a little bit bigger than 4 feet, so I went ahead and trimmed off the side of that as well and got us our blank, which is 4 foot by 4 foot. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about with plywood specifically is that this is cabinet grade plywood. This is Baltic birch, but there's also construction grade plywood, which means that they are slightly different thicknesses. So if you are part of CNC with me, I will have both sets of those files for construction grade plywood and for cabinet grade plywood. But for today, we're going for cabinet grade, and we're only going to be using 1 bit to cut this out. We're going to be using our downtown Jenny, which is one of the only 3 bits that you need to CNC with me, which makes everything as simple as possible. All right, so first and foremost, I want to bring up something specific about collets. I'm just taking off the collet nut. I'm going to be putting the collet right here, and you just need to press it and make sure that it clicks. Y'all hear that click? Okie dokie. We'll take our Z-axis down, and then we'll zero out our Z, our Y, and our X. We're going to load our file. As you can see right here, we have another Mitz file to run today. It's going to be a bowl bit and then a groovy Jenny, but we'll get to that in a little while. We're going to choose our spray rack, and then we're going to load our file. Once we load our file, we can see the toolpaths that are generated, showing all the different spray racks we're going to be cutting out. And now the machine's ready to go. Alright, so I'm having to rehome the machine right now because I left this clamp in accidentally. And it, shoved it over. Thankfully, Masso can just start and finish that because it's literally like 13 seconds of cutting that it has left. If I just start it from where it is, it thinks that the spindle's on because it has already had that signal saying, hey, turn on the spindle. Let's do rewind, jump to line, and then we're going to start from that line, and then we're going to run it. It didn't turn the spindle on. Okay, 1 second. I think it does like an XYZ thing. Now we might be breaking a bit. All right. Cool. So it is now wanting to start from back here, I guess. It's now done its X and its Y. The issue is it doesn't have the spindle running. Oh, it's starting the spindle. Okay. And do I press start one more time? Nah, okay. So it's finishing up the cut. I just don't have the vacuum running right now. Hey! There we go. What was that, like 4 seconds of cutting that I need to finish up? Ooh, and that one too. Okay. You win some, you lose some. Essentially, I've been coming over here and it's got 2 tabs. So that's how I've been doing my work holding, was just 2 tabs. I would probably use 4 next time, but for this one, it turned out pretty well. The only mishap that I did have was just my stupid self left some of my clamps from an older project off to the side, and the dust boot intercepted these clamps, which pushed it over. Of course, the Masso is way smarter than me, so it went ahead and shut down the program. Such an awesome safety feature that the CNC machine has. And then I came back in and then I restarted it from that line. So I had to rehome the machine. I brought it back to where it was, and then I restarted the program, but from that specific line. So I went ahead and jumped over after I'd confirmed its X, Y, and Z placement. The machine started back, it finished its cut, and then it came back and it finished up its last one, which was back here. So we have in total cut out 14 of these pieces. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of sanding and start with the assembly and talk about how modular these things are and what improvements can be made on them too. After cutting out the parts, I took them all outside and then I started sanding them. Wait, yep. Then I started sanding them. No. Okay, so I had to go and get a new sanding pad that I haven't been installing on my sander for like a year because I've been putting it off, but yeah, upkeep your tools. So I brought all the parts out here and then I started sanding them. I sanded all the pieces down so that we removed any type of rough sides, and I left it unfinished because this is a shop project and shop projects don't really need to be finished, at least in my mind. So what we are left with is this modular drying rack system. You can create as many of these things as you want and stack it as high as you want. You can go wide, you can go narrow. There's a lot of different configurations for it. And honestly, that's the really great part about this because this is just a starting point. If you are a CNC with Me member, go ahead and jump on over there because we have a brand new challenge called Make It Better. I'm sure that some of y'all can relate. Making something alone, you can get a little bit tunnel visioned and end up making something that's really good but could be a little bit better, and that's what Make It Better is all about. You can go on there right now and you don't even have to physically make it. All you have to do is create a rendering of how this could be better, and then the winner gets a $50 gift card to Genie Bits. We launched less than a week ago and we're up to 136 members. So it is Founders Month right now. If you're watching this in January 2024, go ahead and jump over there. We are kicking off it with a huge sale. You also get all of my files from CNC later. It's a really big deal. I'm really excited about it. Now, as you can see, there's just so many different ways that we can hook this up so that you can be able to set it up exactly for the type of project that you have in your shop. You certainly can have two different sets of it so that you can use it for your film finishes, and then you can use another one specifically for your oil finishes. If you have parts that you want to stack in here that you don't want marred by pressing up against another piece of wood, you can just grab some pool noodles and cut those into the sections that you want and cover the sections that you need specifically for your project. These are 30 inches long by 3.5 inches wide, and what that does is it gives a ton of different CNC users the ability to make these. But obviously, if you have a much larger machine, you can make these much larger. You might have seen earlier with my material, I had some sections of that plywood that was not used to its fullest potential, and that's because I really want to make sure that everybody can cut these things out with the smallest version of the Onefinity CNC machine all the way up to the biggest. I know there are a ton of other brands of CNC machines out there, but that's the ones that I pay attention to the most when I'm creating brand new files. So this being 30 inches long, imagine if it was 46 inches long. That could leave you with a very stable base and then a lot of room to be able to stack things on the sides. I can already see one improvement that I would like to add after making these for the first time is adding holes in the very end so that, so that if you have a dowel, you could slide that through the holes on the very side and you could be able to hang things. Because as I'm sure you know, once you dunk something in mineral oil and you place it down in a flat space, the top might really soak in and dry a little bit, but the bottom, as long as it is just pressed against something, is never really going to dry that well. So when I hang things, dowels are really, really important. So for the CNC with Me members, if you want extra points, go ahead and throw some holes in there to be able to put dowels in. This is an 1.25 inch dowel, I believe. The second way that I can see that this can be improved on is just adding in additional places for this to index into. Since this is a shop project, I probably wouldn't go as far as like numbering each one of those to make sure that you're lining them up correctly, but you certainly could if you wanted to. This is 14 individual pieces, which makes 7 levels, but obviously you can make this much, much bigger. And then after you're done, it's just as simple as taking it apart and putting it to the side. This is a very cheap and easy project for anybody to cut out, especially since it is only profile cuts. I am beyond excited to see how everybody's going to be making this better over on cncwithme.com. The challenge is only going to last for 10 days, so if you're a member, go ahead and jump over there. So there you go, a very, very, very simple shop project that hopefully will be very useful for some of y'all out there. All right, so it's time to run our Mitz file, where Mitz sends me some mystery G-code. I have been told to load up a bowl bit and then a 60-degree groovy Genie bit, which are 2 of the 3 bits that you need to CNC with me. Run them on this piece of MDF, and we're going to see what we get. I haven't thought about using a bowl bit on MDF, so dust collection. As the design started to take a relatively swastika turn, I quickly realized how much power that I've given old Mitz here on my channel to load mystery stuff and me just cut it out. But don't worry, be hammy. Thanks, Mitz. I'll be uploading a CNC woodworking project just like this one every single Friday for the foreseeable future. And the really nice part about CNC with Me is the endless inspiration that we're all getting from each other as a part of the community. With that, I'll be able to team up with some of the members and be able to bring their projects here on the channel, cut them out, maybe make my own version of them, and have a much more in-depth conversation about the different projects that the community members are making. There is so much to come with the channel, and I'm so glad that y'all taking the time to watch. Here are my past Patreon members. Thank y'all so much for supporting me up until now. I am shutting down on Patreon for good, because I'm moving everything over to CNC with me so that I have all of that just all in one place and everybody can interact together. So thank you so much for your past support. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see y'all over at cncwithme.com. If you do want these files, the SVGs are available on CNC later, but if you want these files in SVG DXF as well as Carveco and Vectric formats along with a toolpathing tutorial, those are all available to CNC with Me members. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all next Friday. Bye.